Hey guys, Doug the Michigan Piper here to Pipe Rest, and back with my second installment of the Cadre Challenge. Today I am smoking my blend Traverse Black in my Dr. Grabow Savoy, which is what I think is a Savoy. And what I mean by that is I realized that the Savoy and the Bent are the same pipe, just different eras. I believe the Bent was originally the name of this pipe, and then in recent decades, they named it the Savoy. The reason why that makes me sad is because the Savoy is my first pipe. So you always want to hang on to your first pipe. It has, you know, a lot more meaning to you. And I can't remember which. I think this is a Savoy. I just realized this a few minutes ago. I will tell you that on the bit, I've got a lot more bite marks and, you know, chew marks and stuff. Not chew marks, but, you know, clench marks. The bowl itself has more charring. I don't know if I can get that to focus in or not. But it has more charring on the bowl itself. So I got to pay more attention to that kind of stuff, I guess. So this is the second pipe of the challenge. And my Savoy is my kind of go-to when I'm trying out tobaccos. I don't know why. I think it's because it's my first pipe, and everything goes through it to give it a chance. So that's what we do. Just water tonight, gents and ladies. So now I wanted to tell you guys about some stuff that's starting to change, I think. I think I may have mentioned in the last video that it looks like I'm going to be possibly changing my part-time job. And I'll explain that when it comes about. But in doing that, I will no longer be requiring so much out of my personal vehicle. Currently, I drive a work truck for the department, and the only time my truck gets used is if I'm out with the medical examiner's office on Thursdays, and I can put up to over 100 miles on it in a day, but there's other days it doesn't get used at all. I might sit there for 2 or 3 weeks and then get used, another 100 miles or whatever. So, but I've wanted a Jeep for a long time, Jeep Wrangler to be specific, and I just couldn't justify it. My brother-in-law rebuilds them. He's done it for I think about 20 years now. I will put his channel. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll put that down in the buckets. Elevated Jeeps. Give him a check out if you get into that kind of thing. So I've been talking to him about it, saying, hey, you know what? If this job change happens, I could be in the market for a Jeep, which would be very exciting for me. However, to say you're in the market for a Jeep, it's sort of like saying you picked a rock up off the beach. What kind of rock, right? There's a bunch of them out there. So I will go into great detail if this goes the way I think it will, because I'd like to do kind of a dual thing with him. But this coming weekend, I'm going to go down to his house. He's in Indiana, I'm in Michigan. And I'm going to drive his Jeep Wrangler LJ. Some of my concerns about getting a Jeep. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be very few miles on this thing. I'm not a rock crawler type of guy. You might be saying, well, if you're not a rock crawler guy, why are you looking into the Wrangler market? Well, one, I love the way the Wranglers look. Love the way the Wranglers look. Two, the allure of being able to pop the doors off and the top off on a summer day and go driving. You know, now that I've sold the bike, that's going to be the next best thing to the bike, I think. And that's just that calls to me. So there are some drawbacks to the Jeep Wranglers. They get horrendous gas mileage, especially the models I'm looking at. And they're not the best daily drivers. So I've watched a ton of videos already on on using a Jeep TJ or LJ as a daily driver. Now the LJ is a longer wheelbase. I believe LJ stands for long Jeep. I'm not positive on that one. But it's basically I think I call it a TJ Unlimited. And, you know, you have like extra, I don't know, 10 or 12 inches or something like that. And it makes a big difference on how the Jeep drives. And obviously on how much room you have in the Jeep. So I'm going to go down and check those out. The problem is I don't really need a vehicle right now. I've got my current vehicle, which is an 2015 Explorer. And I don't really need one. But I don't want a third vehicle either. You know, I don't want one just to sit there and every once in a while I go out. I mean, it seems kind of dumb to me, but so some of the drawbacks, you know, like I said, the fuel mileage is horrendous in the TJ LJ model. But since I'm not going to be driving it that much, and even when I am driving it, I'm not driving it far. Like I told him, the occasional trip to Chicago, which is a couple hours away, or Indianapolis, which is like 3 hours away, would be probably the most. You know, if I decide to go to the Chicago Pipe Show, I may just borrow my wife's truck. The Ohio Pipe Show, because that's like 5 hours away. But one of my biggest concerns is the wintertime, because I will be driving it year round. The ice, the snow doesn't bother me. I mean, obviously it's a Jeep, so it's going to get anywhere in the snow, provided you put the right tires and whatnot on it. But it's the ice that concerns me, because in Michigan, where we live, and a lot of places it's like this, the ice can just sneak up on you. You know, you think you're going over dry or even wet pavement. Next thing you know, the back end's kicking out on you. And this is not an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's a four-wheel drive, but there's sometimes when you're driving, you hit black ice, you have no clue the ice is even there, so you don't know to prepare for that ice. All you can do is just, you know, once it hits about 32 degrees, just pay attention, right? So that's got me a little bit on the wary side. Now the LJ has a longer wheelbase, which is why I like that, but they're kind of a unicorn, because everybody knows that they've got a longer wheelbase and they're a nicer ride. So I want to go down and at least drive his, but he did a special or a series on what he called a cheap Jeep, and it was a TJ, which is the shorter version of that. And they built the whole thing, bought and built the whole thing for under like $3,500 or something like that. That's my price range, right? Because I don't want to go into debt doing this. My wife and I worked hard to get out of debt. I don't want to go back into debt. So that's why I'm not looking at the newer Jeeps. And from what he's telling me, anything from 2007 through 2011, I think it is, or 12, the motors in them were pretty junk. And you pretty much were going to expect to have to replace the motor. So I'm trying to stay away from those, but then now you're up into 2012, 2013, so now your money starts to get a little bit more. And so one of the things I should have mentioned too is that the Jeeps that he rebuilds, they're like salvage title Jeeps, but he's not, you know, a lot of guys say, yeah, I rebuild Jeeps, and they're hacks, they're backyard mechanics. He's not so much, because, you know, he's been around it for so long, specifically to the TJ LJ market. He's got a partnership too, and I can't remember, forgive me, I can't remember who he's got a partnership with, but guys that sell the Jeep parts and whatnot. So he's been around the block when it comes to Jeeps. He knows what he's doing. He's made mistakes. He's how I want to say I'm not even going to guess how many Jeeps he's redone, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm gonna go down there. Like I said, I'm hoping to do a video on it, you know, and bring you guys along and you know, see what I feel like, see what it drives like, you know, see if it's something I feel that, you know, would suit me. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Guys, we've already passed 10 minutes here, so I'm gonna let you go, but I do hope that you're all doing well. Until next time, you take care.